What's going good, guys? It's 12:39 in the morning. I'm more tired than Biden after riding a bicycle, and I got a sudden reoccurrence of those creepypasta survival videos posted a few months back. I don't remember who it was who posted them. Some nobody talking about the best ways of surviving creepypasta land. Like, don't go to the bathroom, you'll get trapped inside. And I thought it was a pretty great video. But if you really think about it, this kind of crap applies to anime in a sense as well. I mean, when was the last time you watched an anime where some crazy shit didn't happen? Even Rent a Girlfriend shows how a loser unimpossibly hasn't given up the will of chasing a chick after 5 seasons. Now, I've watched my fair share of anime over the past couple of years. I've got about 30 days in total on my anime list. Don't go looking at my manga stats, alright? But I can say with certainty, my guys, there's a reason we watch this crap. And it's not just to escape the sitcom we live in. I personally got into anime through Jinro after spending 2.5 grand on Warhammer minifigs. But like I was saying before, anime turns the impossible possible. And in turn, some crazy shit happens. So I'm sitting down today to give y'all 10 rules to follow if you ever get sent to one of these godforsaken worlds. Also, beware, there will be spoilers for these series on screen, so skip around or don't watch if you haven't seen or watched any of these. Starting off with a pretty obvious one. I feel like it should be pretty self-explanatory, but in plenty of shows, the main character has the power equivalent of God. If you've seen any one of these damn cartoons, God knows power fantasy, you'll know just how cracked the protagonists can be. Even at their weakest, they could probably kick my ass 100 times over. The only exception I could think of was Shinji Ikari, and that's only because he's a depressed, nihilistic 14-year-old. But even if Shinji got in his Eva, I guarantee you I ain't surviving being shot by an AR the size of the Burj Khalifa. And I know there are some shows out there that either have weak-ass main characters or have no real main characters, but if I'm preaching to the mass, 99% of anime all have dudes who will just kick your ass. Look at me, are you really gonna size up to the future anime protagonist Chihiro Rokira, aka John Kagurabachi? Listen to me guys, enough time has passed. Lesson number 1, don't fuck with the main character. Alright, that's one down, 9 to go. I'm going to go ahead and cover the next straightforward bullshit scenario that always happens. I'm going to give you 10 seconds to say what the most common way of being isekai'd is. 1, 2, 10. Alright, if you said blinking, you're a fucking dumbass. Nah, the shit that stupid 16-year-olds always fall for is becoming the victim of vehicular manslaughter. It's gotten to the point where it even has a name. Truck-kun. Now, of course, some isekais don't use this bullshit excuse of a death and actually do something creative. Konosuba even plays on this trope in a funny, unique way, where the dipshit protagonist Kazuma dies of anaphylactic shock to what he thought was a truck but was actually a tractor. But 9 times out of 10, some random dude, usually a male teenager in Japan, gets hit by a passing vehicle. So you might be wondering, how do we avoid getting hit by an 18-wheeler semi-truck? Well, little Timmy, if you said look both ways, you win a gold star. I swear, all of these totally tragic accidents could be saved if the person weren't stupid and did what their parents told them to do when crossing the road. I mean, my guys, do you know how many lives this would save? Japan really gotta do something. This could genuinely fix their population crisis if so many teens weren't dying. So rule number 2 is to look both ways before crossing the road. So next up, we're going to be taking a break from all this dying shit I've been talking about for the past few minutes, and we're going to talk about some romance. I swear every time I watch this shit, there's always some abusive relationship or unhealthy polygamy shit going on. My dude, you do not need 100 fucking girlfriends. I'm pretty sure the CDC said that was bad or something. But look at Toradora and tell me that isn't assault, my guy. This little fun-sized 4th grader beats this dude nearly half to death like 6 or 7 times over. And while we're on the topic of women, I also want to note 3 types of dairies that every man should be wary about. The first is the tsundere, and that was the shit I was just mentioning, where the girl acts like my drunk uncle on Thanksgiving and starts beating my ass while talking about politics. Then there's the yandere, who thinks it's fun to kill and rip their lovers apart into dog meat. These are probably the bitches you need to watch out for the most. And finally is the gundere, and I swear I am not kidding when I say this, these fucks pull out Lockheed Martin's entire goddamn arsenal out of their asses. It's no wonder we're low on munitions in Iran and Ukraine right now. These dickwads are using it on random people when they get embarrassed. My guy, if you teleport into anime land and see any of these three stereotypes, you ought to start praying to Jesus, my G's. So for rule number 3, don't be in a relationship. And we might as well add rule number 4, don't talk to women. Look, the Promised Neverland even depicts them as evil beings that side with demons. So I feel like my answer is quite justified. At this point, you're probably thinking, alright, Trooper, these are some pretty good rules to abide by. But I already knew all of these. Alright then, smartass, next up on the things you should do / not do in anime world are going to be really important. So pay attention. What does this guy, and this guy all have in common? The answer is that they are all cool side characters that get fucking murked. And that first thing I mentioned is the important part. Look, no matter how hard you try, you're going to be a side character. But what really matters is your relevance to the story. Tell me, do you really think Major Maze Hughes would have died if it didn't make you cry? That's my point. But let's be honest. You don't want to go slay the Demon King. You want to sit on your ass 12 hours a day playing gacha games and laughing at my slop content. Which is exactly why rule number 5 of surviving in anime is to be a boring side character. At this point going forward, I want to start targeting specific animes and shit you shouldn't do in them since we've already covered a lot of the general basics. And what better way to start off than by covering one of the classics? And if you're sitting with your finger in your ass and wondering what I'm talking about, I'm saying Death Note. Now you might look at me and say, wow, Trooper, this is a really easy one. Just don't be a criminal. And that's where you're wrong, dumbass. Not being a criminal isn't enough. Within the show, Light, the main character, kills plenty of non-villains as well. Like when he sentenced that FBI dude to death and then proceeded to trick his wife into committing Die 100. And then the obvious highlight, that being L, loses to Light and pays for it through cardiac arrest. So let me ask you this. How can you be completely safe from Light Yagami? The answer, like many of the others, is quite simple. Assuming you're not already incarcerated, just don't go on TV or social media. That's the main way Light kills all those criminals. And assuming we're talking about Light prior to getting the Shinigami eyes, he can't do jack shit. So long as you don't give your real name. So the best rule I came up with here, and rule number 6, is don't use visual devices. Hell, don't go on the internet at all. It saves you from posting Instagram reels too. Alright, next up we've got another classic, and that's Steins Gate. Call me a Reddit mod, but this is the best anime I've watched. Not Steins Gate Zero though, we don't talk about that one. But overall, Steins Gate has a great intro, a great outro, and a great story and all. But you know what's not so great? Getting held at gunpoint and watching your friend die. Yeah, you really thought I was going to say time travel, weren't you? You see, time travel does play a crucial role into getting to the issue, but it isn't the core issue at hand. The guys with masks and guns here are European, or at least Japanese agents working for CERN. The European Society for Nuclear Research, basically the Europeans. The whole reason why these little goobers are threatening Okabe and his pals comes solely down to the fact that they fucking hacked into a confidential government agency and then proceeded to change the timeline several times that sped up the process of getting caught. Look, I'm not saying it was a bad decision, but if I were to hack into Kash Patel's homework folder and laugh with my friends as we posted on 4chan, would it really be surprising to see the US military obliterating my friends and I for having posted that confidential data? That's my whole point. So the whole 7th rule that Okabe and really everyone should learn here is to not fuck with the Europeans. I mean, just look at world history, my guy. Right. So my mouth is starting to get really dry, and we're almost done here, so I'm going to quick fire these next few. I'm going to be completely honest with you and say that not going to the bathroom from Creepypasta World also applies here in Anime Land. Since this little gremlin is always poking around in my asshole whenever I'm trying to drop a fat load, I want you to think of using a bidet, but instead of water, it's a damn hand being shoved up your number 2 hole. That's the whole philosophy around toilet bound Hanako, apparently. This little shit wants me to help maintain the balance between the human and spirit world. Fuck that shit, get out of my goddamn toilet, you little pervert. And you know it's even worse when you learn that this story takes place at school. It goes to show you that school doesn't do jack shit about anything. It's a lot like real life when it comes to criminal activities. You know, kids going to the restroom, smoking, doping, doing crack, whatever. But at least no one's firing miniguns down the hallways. So you know what? I'm gonna do what I did earlier. Rule number 8, don't go to the bathroom. You'll be sexually assaulted. And rule number 9, don't go to school. You're ironically safer in our IRL hellholes than being in school in Anime Land. Right, finally. If you've made it this far, you're probably on the edge of your seat wondering what the ultimate and final rule of living in Anime Land is. And boy, I've got something in store for y'all. Rule number 10, don't go to Anime Land. Hell, it might as well be don't watch anime, because most weebs that get isekai are the corniest fucking weebs out there. And I don't care what your favorite anime is, hell, I don't care what your favorite show of all time is. Do you really want to live in Berserk when the goddamn eclipse happens? Do you really want to go to hell? No matter where you decide to go, it will either be depressing, painful, or plain ass boring. There's nothing better than real life where I get to read articles about Robert Kennedy snipping off raccoon penises. So let's be honest to ourselves. Your waifu doesn't care about you and she never will. She doesn't exist. She's not real. But what really matters most in a person is actual depth. Otherwise you wouldn't be watching this video. And that the 10th rule is to not go to Anime Land / don't watch anime. Go touch grass, you filthy weeb, and while you're at it, go take a shower since you haven't in the past week. So let's finish the video off with a quick recap. Rule number 1, don't fuck with the main character. Rule number 2, look both ways before crossing the road. Rule number 3, don't be in a relationship. Rule number 4, don't talk to women, period. Rule number 5, be a boring side character. Rule number 6, don't use devices. Rule number 7, don't fuck with the Europeans. Rule number 8, don't use the restroom. Rule number 9, skip school. And rule number 10, don't go to Anime Land / don't watch anime. I hope this list helps any poor soul that gets trapped in the anime world. Just follow these 10 rules and you should be relatively fine. Thanks for watching to those who are still here. I just really need to rant about this idea that I randomly got in my head. Don't forget to help a brother out and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Adios.